Hello, and welcome to San Marino, Imola, for the third round of the 2023 GPVWC Academy Championship Series. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me, as broadcast director, is Menno Klont, and Menno.
Hey.
It's great to be with you, Menno. And we got 22 Academy cars looking to do battle here on this fabulous Enzo Edino Ferrari Autodrome. And it is, of course, Maggio, Alessandro Maggio, who starts on pole, set a time a whole second faster than Jeffrey Ellis, who's alongside him on the front row, I believe. So that red Academy car is going to be doing laps around this place, potentially running circles around everyone else. I think Maggio just seems significantly quicker than the rest of the field in this first race.
Yeah, at least in qualifying, he was quite quick, but let's see how that translates to the race. Hi, by the way, everybody. So, yeah, I'm in the camera booth for today, so I will not talk that much. But yeah, when I've got time, I will add some interesting facts, what I know. Last week, we already were in Imola for Formula Sprint 2 and Formula Sprint 1. And
we were,
know,
weren't we?
Yeah.
And there was that brilliant move by Lucas Violin, who, of course, took part in Academy Series in Istanbul in the opener in race 2 in Istanbul. Remember, there was that where he got shuffled out from the podium on the very final corner of the race. And here, as you said, in FS2, when Tom Dillon and Jan Granqvist were commentating on that one so brilliantly as well, he was able to snatch second on the final lap. So that was a big reversal of fortunes for Lucas Violin, going much better in the bigger leagues than in Academy.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, later in the week we've of course got Super Lights and Super League at Imola as well. So yeah, we're loving Imola here in San Marino or Italy. So yeah, looking forward what Academy brings here. This is the third round of 2023.
Yes,
so.
And Maggio in the chat earlier, Alex Maggio was saying, Sophie Jones is saying Maggio is showing why he is the GOAT, and Alex Maggio says, hush, it's just quali. So he's keeping his head on the ground, which is good to see. But anyway, there we go. So Maggio on the right, Jeffrey Ellis on the left, and are we about to get going on the formation lap, of course. There, I got all excited there, but I just remembered, of course, we got to do this isn't Formula E. They didn't just set off from the dummy grid. They do have to do a full circuit. And, of course, this would be a good time, of course, Menno, for me to go through the grid.
Yes, and I cannot get the starting order.
That's okay. I can just read them out as I see them then. So... it is, as I said, Alessandro Maggio on pole position from Jeffrey Ellis. Behind him in the green car is Bobby Vakinov. Of course, won race 2 at Valencia. Vakinov on a bit of a rich vein of form at the moment and looking to get another podium to his tally. In 4th position behind Vakinov on the second row is Yusuf bin Suhail. Then it is Bradley Sellers, the very rapid Bradley Sellers, in 5th position in the Red Academy car. Justin Ruyan, in the Pink Academy car is in 6th. Mike Bell is right behind him in 7th. Mike Bell hoping to put in some more overtakes to his catalogue of passes this season. Victor Burnout sits right behind him in 8th in the turquoise machine. That is Mark McNaughton in 9th. Stefan Schreider is 10th in another teal machine. Then it is Usama Kanani just outside the top 10 in 11th. Behind Kanani is Victor Silva in an orange Academy car. Then it is Marek Petras in 13th. Juho Cheko Sopanen in 14th. Archie Moat in 15th. Philo Dubois in 16th. Brody Lawless. Lots of lawless puns made in the chat about Brody's name. He starts 17th, just ahead of George Giagalis. Oh, and you guys is mounting the curb already on the warm-up lap there. In 19th is Caroline Harvig. 20th is Connor Dugoid. And Louis Smith, I believe, rounds out the tail of the field. So it's always Dugoid and Smith near the rear, unfortunately. We're hoping to improve their pace in qualifying, but certainly make a place in the race. And Fahid Ahmed is going to start from the pit lane then, which is great to see because I don't think Ahmed has started an Academy race so far this season. So he's got a great view of everyone streaming into turn 1. He'll be hoping there's carnage ahead and he can just avoid it and sweep through into a decent position.
Yeah, for Tohita, I hope that his game is working fine because he had a lot of problems. So I hope it's all fixed. So we shall see if he actually gets running without issues, because that's I think would be a win for him already.
Yeah, and I think that'd be a win for everybody to see Ahmed in the field and participating and making waves in Academy. So best of luck to Farid Ahmed. Fingers crossed that his connection holds and his game runs smoothly. The lights coming on now. Maggio on the right, Ellis on the left. They're about to go off, and we are racing in Imola, and it's a brilliant start from Maggio, but it is still Ellis just tucking in right behind him, looking to get that blue car in exactly where he needs to be to cause some damage here into the first corner. But it's Vakinov trying to make it free wide, has to back out, and now is about to get swamped by Bin Sahul and Sellers, who both have to back off subsequently themselves. And Mike Bell now, we look on board with him, he's trying to make a move on Bin Sahul. But it is Maggio leading Ellis, Vakinov, Sellers, Bin Sahul, and Mike Bell takes Bin Sahul as they go into the Villeneuve chicane. And there we go, he's through. So a brilliant move there by Mike Bell, but somebody has gone into the gravel there. Multiple people, in fact. I think that might be a Stefan Schreider, who's just extracting himself as we're on board with Connor de Goyd, I think. A bit hard to tell without the name graphic at the bottom, I'm afraid. But anyway, a bit of a yellow in Sector 1 as that clears. Louis Smith, I think, has dropped behind Schrader now. Bin Sahel has actually dropped down to 16th position. So after Mike Bell got through, it looks like Bin Sahel came off really badly in some contact. So that's bad news for him. But a dream start for Maggio, doing exactly what he was aiming to do. Now he just needs to build that gap to Vakinov, who's somehow managed to get ahead of Ellis, actually, in all of this. So Vakinov, too, making places here. And this is Victor Bernat, who's got himself up into 8th position, challenging Kanani for what is now 7th position. A little bit of a drift on through the chicane. And now into the back end of Sector 3 to complete the first lap. And Maggio, look at the gap, 1.3 seconds already over Bobby Vakinov. Sellers and Bell are having a bit of a battle there behind, and that's Sellers in the red car, Bell in the green car. And then here's Royan, we're on board with, who I think has just tried to make a move on Bell at the last corner and got shuffled out. And now in the slipstream, building up speed down the straight in 7th gear. Here we go. Is Royan going to be able to tuck into the inside? No, Mike Bell forces him to go the long way around into Tamburello. Oh! And behind him, that's a Kanani looking to get stuck in as well. As Bradley Sellers pulls away ahead of this group. And Kanani has got a front row seat, hasn't he, Menno, of this squabble for 5th position.
Yeah.
And getting very close indeed, actually, through Villeneuve.
It's very close at the moment. Of course, it's just lap 2. Oh, and he loses it. He loses it from the rear, but he saves it. But yeah, that's what happened when you get out of the racing line. Well, we've got a yellow flag.
Not the ideal line through for Royan through Tosa there. I think we see Louis Smith was in the pits there, and Connor de Goyd, I think, is in trouble as well. Ahmed is in the pit, so it looks like he didn't get going in this race after all, sadly, which is a big shame for them. And there's somebody coming through. McNaughton is showing his DNA. I think that's Louis Smith getting back into the race then.
Yeah, so already a few retirements, sadly, but I believe Louis Smith is now in the pits. Let's go back on the leaders.
Yes, I'm not sure quite what happened to McNaughton, sadly, but he is out of the race, and Louis Smith will have to go some to catch back up to his position. So I think Smith may not have even done the first lap then. A few moves down there. I think Lawless and Dubois are having a little battle over 12th, but there is Vakinov pulling away a little bit from Ellis, and somebody in the gravel there. That's Dubois, and I think that must be a lap car. Is that de Goyd that was just in the gravel there? As we ride on board with Brody Lawless. Just challenging, that must be, who's that in front? It is Dubois in front of him, of course. Fastest lap, by the way, 1:42.3 by Alessandro Maggio. 1.8 his lead over Bobby Vakinov. As here we go, side by side, and Brody Lawless has to defend into Tamburello, and does so successfully from, that must be Juho Cheko Sopanen in the light blue car that had a little think about attacking him. And de Goyd behind is being attacked by Petras, as somebody else dips a wheel in the gravel at Villeneuve. It seems to be a common occurrence now. As Kanani is able to get past Ruin. I think Ruin has hit trouble, because he is dropping down the order. And there we go. Up the inside goes, that must be Silva, I think. No, it's Dubois, of course. Silva just got through a few seconds ago. So a big mistake then from Ruan, and now Brody Lawless fancies to go into Acro Minerale. Difficult place to overtake, very tight, very narrow, very technical, and very easy to hit the back of someone. That's Silva losing it in front of them, and this could create an opportunity for Lawless. The two pink cars briefly touch wheels there, but they escape somehow, and Ruan, that could have been a lot worse for him as he saw Silva spinning in front of him. And I think the timing screen, was it Silva actually? I think it might have been someone else, because it's showing Victor Silva still in 9th position.
Well, I'm not sure who it was actually, but it is quite a atmosphere here with a lot of cars really close, and new fastest lap for Maggio. Well, we had a mistake there, I think, from Brody Lawless. Oh, and he spins!
Whoa! And that's Lawless in all sorts of problems there, just found himself facing the wrong way at the final corner. And that's the problem there, when just get a little bit too eager to make that move on Ruan. And that's cost him. That's put Dubois up into 11th. But here comes Petras trying to attack around the outside into Tamburello. And Dubois has to brake really, really late. As behind him, that looks like Bin Suhail recovering and passing Schreider up to 13th position. So a good recovery so far after a difficult first lap for Yusuf Bin Suhail. In fact, that's actually Schreider getting back past him, sorry. It's a bit hard to tell with these cars. There's no distinctive liveries. It's all just the generic colors. So you've got to have a good memory for this sort of thing. But there we go. So not quite the race that Bin Suhail had in mind, I think.
Yeah, and it's a bit like a race I saw yesterday. Is that the leader is just checking out, so we don't catch the leader much with camera footage. So I will give you the leader now, but he's just checking out, and I think if the leader is not getting much airtime, that it's I think a very good thing, because then he does his thing, drives away, and we rather look at the battles.
3 tenths of a second faster than Bobby Vakinov on the previous lap, and he was actually 3 tenths of a second faster in the second sector alone on this current lap. So that really shows Maggio has got things under control at the moment, very much in hand. If Bobby Vakinov is really going to have to up his pace without destroying his tyres, preferably, as we go into lap 5. And there's Jeffrey Ellis, of course, knocked from second position on the starting grid down to 3rd, and finds himself really starting to worry about Sellers a little bit more rather than Vakinov, as Bradley Sellers is from qualifying 5th or 6th, I think, got up to the top 4, and now he fancies a podium with Mike Bell a few seconds behind him as well. Here is Bin Suhail. He's dropped down to 17th, so another bit of misfortune then for Yusuf.
Yeah, I think I had a small spinner or something, because I saw him.
Be the only one.
I saw him moving down on the actual live timing.
And yellow in sector 2.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is about, but it clears. So Maggio still leading 2.5 seconds over Bobby Vakinov now, and he sets a purple first sector for good measure. So Maggio just pulling away, as you say, Menno, but pushing a little bit too hard. Goes off onto the curb at the exit of Acro Minerale.
Yeah, did you see what he did? So he went out of track, but I think the game actually said, well, you were a bit too fast there. Please, please release your throttle, and then we will not penalize you in the game. And then actually he lifted, so he's not actually gaining a faster lap time, and that's how he actually plays with his car and with the track limits. If he
clever
steps
stuff
over it,
from Maggio.
if he steps over it, he knows, this is potentially giving me a small penalty. Then he lifts so that he actually doesn't.
He only lost a tenth to Vakinov, and he's already gained it back, Menno. So that really shows Maggio is not just quick; he's got a decent brain on him as well.
Yeah.
So, like many of these drivers in the academy feel they're very intelligent, to be fair, in the way that they race, and it's fascinating to watch, especially at a circuit like Imola, where it's a little bit tight. It's very high speed, but often not the easiest to pass unless you've got a distinct advantage over the car in front. But we are nearly halfway through then this opening race. Remember, top 15 is going to be the reverse grid. Currently 15th held by Juho Checo Sopanen. Here's Connor Dugoid. He would desperately love to get into that top 15. Got pretty close in the first race in Valencia.
What happened to Lawless?
Oh dear. And Brody Lawless side by side then with Caroline Harvick. And can Caroline hold on? No, she can't. That's going to allow... Oh, it's he. I think Caroline is a he, actually. Sorry. So Brody back up into the top 18 then. As we see another battle going on a little bit further ahead between Giagalis and Soppinen.
Changed here, I think. Yeah.
Yes, Bin Suhail and Soppinen are back through Giagalis. So I think Giagalis made a mistake, unfortunately. So, yeah, lots of action in this race so far. Not quite as crazy as Valencia, but... Oh, and that's an issue on our end, sorry. So nothing to worry about for the audience at home. Maggio going along very, very smoothly indeed. Got the gap up to 3 seconds, and oh dear. More connection issues on our end, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen.
Is it on our end or is it on Maggio's end? Because, yeah.
Well, fingers crossed it's just our end. But yeah, Maggio looking a little bit vulnerable, at least in terms of connection, but not in terms of the way he's driving. So let's fingers crossed for his sake that it holds, because this would be... There's no good way to lose a race, but that's one of the worst, really, being disconnected from 3 seconds in the lead with only about 5 laps left to go.
Yeah.
So the order then, let's go through the top 10. It is Maggio, 3 seconds ahead, just under 3 seconds ahead of Vakinov. Ellis, 1.9 seconds behind in third. Sellers is fourth. Mike Bell is fifth. 8 tenths behind him is Kanani, who's having a very charging race, putting a lot of pressure on Mike Bell. Victor Bernat is 6.8 seconds behind Kanani in 7th. Royan has somehow gotten back up to 8th despite spinning earlier. He's ahead of Philo Dubois by about 7 tenths per second. Victor Silva rounds out the top 10, 4 tenths ahead of Stefan Schreider. In fact, Schreider now is up into 10th because Philo Dubois is in trouble. And Philo Dubois drops down the order as Stefan Schreider really spins up the rears into Tosa. And there's Dubois trundling around a little bit slowly. I think he went in the gravel at Villeneuve, as we've seen many do in this race. And that's why he's dropped out of the top 10.
Yeah, that's a shame. And yeah, okay, 15th is still a decent position because of the reverse grip position, but 16th is, of course, the most painful position in actually.
It is, yes.
Yeah, because...
You'll be annoyed that Giagalis just got through there.
Yeah, because in all other series, you get points also for top 15, so 16th is the... most difficult finishing position. I can tell you that had quite a few of those. Yeah. Also,
a lot of band because Conor de Goid is right behind him as well, looking to capitalise and right in the slipstream too. Yeah. So he's going to have to defend onto the straight. We have also got a battle for 9th going on, which Schreider really putting the pressure on Silva at the moment up front. In fact, here is Victor Silva. He's got that turquoise teal car of Stefan Schreider breathing down his neck down the main straight. Here we go, well in the slipstream, and now this is where Silva has really got to stick to the inside for Schreider to go the more circuitous route into turn 1. He tries to squeeze him from the outside. Can he do it? And Schreider has got the line, and nothing that Silva can do. There we go. So brilliant, aggressive racing there by Schreider, and Silva will feel a little bit annoyed by that one. I think he thought he had that one under control, and then Schreider just went around the outside of him there as through Villeneuve they go.
But do see how different they are in driving. Like one is more braking later, the other is braking early, but takes a lot of exit speed out of the corner. So that's actually very good to see.
Yeah, but Silva still right on the back. Here we go into, I think, Piratella. And then into Acqua Minerale. And Schreider is going this way and that, trying to get any little sniff of an opportunity he can to get through. Behind them is Archie Moat. Moat fancies a little... Oh, he fancies going off track. That's what he fancies. Yes. And he rejoins immediately. Hopefully he doesn't get a penalty, because we saw Maggio getting away with that earlier. So hopefully Moat will be mercifully unpenalized. And Victor Silva does not get a great run through the Variante Alta there. As Maggio sets another fastest lap there. It's 141.7. He is still flying. Fastest first and final sectors of the race there. Vakinov has got no response. 3.5 seconds behind at the moment. As here is Mike Bell holding off Kanani.
We're going back to this battle.
And in fact, Kanani, I think, has actually dropped down to 7th. So Bernat has got through somehow. I think Kanani has made a mistake.
nothing happens in this battle at the moment. Well, we've got
Yeah,
four to
Moat
go.
is just keeping a watching brief then for the time being. Not really close enough to make a lunge. Meanwhile, Bin Suhail has worked his way back into the top 15 past Juho Checo Sopanen. And Brody Lawless is about 6 seconds behind him there. So that battle for the reverse grid pole still raging on, with Sopanen hoping to counter-attack, really. He's still right with Bin Suhail. Here's Kanani, who I believe he might have made the mistake that everyone's been making through Villeneuve. And that has allowed... big spin there. And that's... Sopanen being delayed there by... That was Bin Suhail, I think, who spun right in front of him there at the exit of Villeneuve.
Yeah, that was Bin Suhail, and I think they might have crashed together. I cannot show you a replay, unfortunately, but I think they...
Well, we saw some contact. He did very well not to take any damage from that one, Sopanen. But there we go. That means Bin Suhail holds on to reverse grid pole, which is probably not the ideal way to hold on to it. It's by spinning dramatically, but it's not been the easiest race for him, has it? After qualifying so well in the top 10, he's really struggled to sort of hold on to that top 15 spot. But someone who hasn't struggled is Maggio, who just continues to extend that gap. Almost, he makes it look effortless, but it's anything but, I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, but he's in the zone, if you know what I mean. He has the focus. I think if you look at his onboard now, he's so easy. He actually knows.
Look at the way he extended all the way onto the curb, but no further. He didn't even look in danger of dipping a wheel on the gravel there. No. As you say, it just looks very calm, very collected, like he can just run at his own pace, and his own pace is very impressive indeed.
What you notice is he's very confident, so he actually knows how far he can go, and he has got no doubt that the car will listen to him. So also here he nearly goes, like, every time what he does, like, he knows exactly the limits. Actually, you saw half slide there, but actually he was so cool, calm, and collected that he actually caught that.
And look at the way he controlled it, because it looked like it was gonna little bit of too much oversteer on entry there, and he just about collected it up. You notice the way he sets himself up very well for the exits.
Yeah, and actually Bobby Falconov is also doing a very decent job, but there's no stopping.
He's sadly been somewhat eclipsed. It's kind of overshadowed the impressive form of Vakanov of late. Ellis still holding on, but Sellers is that little bit closer now, might be getting his tyres in position to mount a late charge, as Kanani has gotten back faster. Bernat, but now Bell is 10 seconds up the road, so Kanani's mistake has really cost him a bit there. Here is Moat, now right on the back of Petras, and Marek Petras is going to have to start driving really defensively in these last 2 laps that are incoming, because Archie Moat, he fancies top 11, possibly top 10 if he can have a bit of luck here with Silver ahead of him.
Yeah, and this is quite close, and who will get P11, and will something else still happen? Yeah,
Sopanen 1.4 seconds behind Bin Suhail. So since that spin, Bin Suhail has gotten things under control, luckily for him, in that dark blue car, and he's about 3 seconds behind Philo Dubois. Or slightly less than that now, I think. 1.8 actually. But Petras didn't have to get too defensive there, because Amara didn't quite get the best run on the slipstream into the first corner. So, and look at how much he's pushing, dipping a few wheels on the grass there. So you notice some of these drivers a little bit further back, not looking quite as relaxed as the likes of Maggio, Vakanov, Ellis, and Sellers, who have really been the standouts in this first race, really, as we see Bradley Sellers pushing to try and put pressure on Jeffrey Ellis. These two, I believe they've raced each other before. They know each other pretty well, from what I remember, as we see yellow in the third sector.
And Sellers is quicker than Ellis, I think around 3 to 4 tenths a lap.
And Ellis starting to feel the pressure, makes a little twitch on exit there through the last couple of corners, of course, the Rivazza. We're into, I believe this is lap 12 of 13, so we're approaching we're in the middle of the penultimate lap now, and it is 4.4 seconds lead that Maggio has over Bobby Vakanov. 4 seconds back to Jeffrey Ellis. Bradley Sellers 9 tenths behind and looking to snatch that podium away. Then 8 seconds back, it's Mike Bell. Kanani is back up to 6th now, with Bernat 2 seconds behind him. Ryan is in the top 8 then, ahead of Schreider, sorry. And then it is Victor Silva holding on to that top 10 from Petras, and Moat 6 tenths behind in 12th.
Got a 5 P14.
Yeah, here we go. So Bin Sahel has been rapidly catching Philo Dubois, and now Dubois is going to have to use all of his mirrors here. In fact, he won't even get the chance. Bin Sahel is going to breeze around the outside in his similarly liveried blue Academy car. Into turn 1 they go. Is Dubois going to brake really late here, or he's going to try? But surely he's going to run out of room here. And that's a very, very valiant effort by Philo Dubois, and he's in fact able to hold on, but he's very forceful in pushing Bin Sahel out on exit. And Sahel, who's been kind of bullied around in this race, it must be said, while he's not been in the gravel trap, he's been just sort of blocked and pushed and beaten up, and he won't be happy with that at all. Into Toaster they go, and Bin Sahel knows that if he finishes in 15th, he'll still get reverse grid, but pole, but I think he would like that extra little comfort of the 14th place. He wants to get as high up in race 1 as he can, and I hope he can make up that place back to Dubois in race 2. As Dubois goes very, very wide through Piratella and off track, and he's lucky he doesn't get a warning for that one. But into Acro Minerale they go, and I'm amazed we don't see more people just running into the back of each other through that braking zone, because it seems the guys who are really confident under brakes are very confident, and the ones who aren't, like Dubois was there, tend to just brake a lot early. And in fact, that happens again at the chicane as Bin Sahel is delayed there. And Ellis has got the gap to Sellers back up to about where it was. It's a second then, so Sellers' charge has been slightly halted, but he's still in it. He could still capitalize if there is any little error or hesitation. Then Bradley Sellers is going to be through like a ferret up a drain pipe. And Victor Silva then holds on to the top 10 from that fierce battle between Petras and Moat. They're not thinking about reverse grid at all. They just want to beat each other, which kind of makes sense when the difference is starting 4th or 5th, essentially.
And I think Yusuf did pass Philo Dubois.
Indeed, he did. There we go. So he just passed him down the main straight this time. So Dubois really not got the straight line speed in the way. Do they get to set up the cars in Academy? I'm pretty sure they do, don't they? It's not a fixed setup.
I
commentated on so many series, it's hard to keep track.
I believe it was, they've got a few options, but actually we're at the finish line already.
Here we go. So, end of the final lap then for Alessandro Maggio. He's driven a faultless race from pole position. He swerves. Victory is at hand in race 1 for Alessandro Maggio, who wins race 1 in Imola. Second place will be Bobby Vakinov, who crosses the line now, 4 seconds in arrears. Jeffrey Ellis holds on to beat Bradley Sellers in a very closely matched duel between the pair. Mike Bell will finish a very respectable 5th position. And then behind him, it will be Kanani, who is just coming through the final corner now. Bernat is a couple of seconds behind him in 7th, sorry. Then it is Ryan, who will hold on to 8th from Schreider. Silva will hold on to 10th for Moat, just a second and a half behind him. And Petras is about 4 tenths behind Moat then. Still challenging for that 11th place. But here we go. Petras is just going to run out of time and position to really make an impact there. Gio Gallus is going to cross the line in a somewhat disappointing 13th, although he did start very far down the field, so maybe 13th isn't bad in that perspective. Bin Sahel runs out of chance to really catch Gio Gallus. He will finish 14th, and Philo Dubois will take reverse grid pole in 15th. So, Menno, there we go. A little bit of a quiet one, it must be said, especially up front, but we certainly had its moments. As there's Brody Lawless, who's had quite a bit of action, and Harvig has done really well, I think, to keep up with Brody Lawless here as they come towards the line to finish the race. And I think they will be the last drivers on the lead. And De Goy did avoid being lapped. There we go. Nice little rhyme there. As De Goy drifts in through Rivarza.
Yeah, just because he can, eh? Yeah.
Well, he knows we're watching, so he's the last guy on track, so he can afford to take his time, I guess. But here we go. Definitely some big highlights early on, but once the gap started to form, it was really a case of not making mistakes and holding on to your position, wasn't it? As there we go. The final order then. Alessandro Maggio victorious from Bobby Vakinov in race 1. So Maggio will start race 2 from 15th. Jeffrey Ellis holds on to his first podium of the season. Good on Jeffrey Ellis as well, because remember he crashed out in race 1 at Valencia, so what a contrast to a few weeks ago. Bradley Sellers is 4th from Mike Bell, and then it is Usama Kanani, who recovers back up to 6th after his mistake. So a good recovery drive there from Kanani. I think he would have hoped to maybe be challenging Mike Bell, though, with the pace that he had. Victor Bernat, another respectable driver, finishes in the top 7 ahead of Justin Royan. Stefan Schreider finishes 9th. Some great moves from Schreider as well, very forceful on Silver earlier, who rounds out the top 10. Then in 11th, it'll be Archie Moat from Marek Petras. George Gigalis 13th. Yusuf Bin Sahel, after being all over the place up and down the field, ends up 14th ahead of Philo Dubar, reverse grid, pole sitter for race 2. Juho Cheko Sopanen just misses out in 16th ahead of Brody Lawless, Caroline Harvig, Connor DeGoyd, Louis Smith, our first DNF then, along with Mark McNaughton and Fahid Ahmed. Ahmed failing to, I think, leave the pit lane at all, sadly. Or if he did, he didn't get very far, that's for sure. And I'm not sure really what happened to McNaughton. I think there was some sort of incident or disconnection for him, which took him out of the running. So they'll be hoping for better luck in race 2 in a few minutes' time.
Yeah, and I think we're now going for a small break. And then in a few minutes, we'll be back for that second race.
I think we should.
Yeah. There we are.
Welcome back to Imola for what is about to be race 2 of this meeting of round 3 of the GPVWC Academy series in 2023. Just a reminder, my name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me, of course, is broadcast director Menno Klont, who's been extremely helpful in getting things set up. I know it's been a while, Menno, but you're doing a great job so far. So definitely all praise to you, because I couldn't do this without you, certainly. But anyway, another person we couldn't do without is all 22 of our drivers, although saying that, 2 of them has just dropped off my timing screen, so I assume they're going to come back in for race 2. But Alessandro Maggio taking a dominant win in race 1 from Bobby Vakinov and Jeffrey Ellis in third, just holding off Bradley Sellers. And they were the top 4 on the starting grid. They were the top 4 in race 1. It's going to be difficult with the top 15 reversed, essentially, which really, especially a circuit like Imola, it's going to show those that pace themselves and pick the right overtaking spots are going to get through, and those that get impatient, they're going to knock each other off the road, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I've got a small fix, so we will be going into the break and then be back very soon.
Okay.
I've got a small issue.
I can't see anything.
I started the IMP ad again.
Hello and welcome back to Imola. Sorry for all that interruption. Thank you for being patient and sticking with us, everybody. But we are about to get going for race 2 in the middle of the warm-up lap at the moment. Menno, it's Edward Hunter as well, doing the commentary with Menno Klont, of course, in broadcast direction. Menno, shall I very, very quickly go through the grid then in the 30 seconds before the cars get ready to line up on the starting grid?
Yes.
I think I will. So, Philo Dubois starts from reverse grid pole after finishing 15th in race 1. Behind him is Joseph Bin Suhail. Of course, had a bit of an up and down one, but he gets to start once again in the top 5. George Gigalis will start 3rd, looking to improve after race 1, where he went from near the back to 8th and then back down to 13th, as he said in his own words. Marek Petras will start 4th, ahead of Archie Mowat. Victor Silva will start 6th. He'll be able to make some more overtakes, as will Stefan Schreider, who put one on Silva in race 1. He will start 7th. Then it will be Justin Royan starting 8th from Victor Bernat in 9th. Suma Kanani rounds out the top 10. Mike Bell will start 11th. Well, we know Mike Bell is capable of some brilliant overtakes. Behind him will be Bradley Sellers, Jeffrey Ellis, Bobby Vakinov, and winner of race 1, Alessandro Maggio in 15th. Then it will be Brody Lawless 16th, Caroline Harvick 17th, Connor DeGoyd in 18th, Louis Smith 19th, and Mark McNaughton bringing up the rear in 20th. So, looks like everyone is just sliding in at the back, so we wait for McNaughton to get into position, and then the light sequence will begin, and we'll be getting away in any second now. So, hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen, because race 2 is bound to get hectic then. So it is Dubois on the right, Bin Suhail on the left. The lights go out now, and race 2 at Imola is underway, and that's a brilliant start from Bin Suhail to try and take the lead on the outside, and Dubois is already under attack from Gigalis and Petras, and look at them bumping alongside each other into Tamburello. The first corner, it's such a high-speed entry, and then there's this tight left-right chicane as we ride on board with 5th place Victor Silva, who sees Petras ahead of him. Behind it, it's looking very chaotic as the yellow flags fly for the incidents. And it looks like Maggio has gone up to 12th already, and he passes Jeffrey Ellis for 11th, as I say that, and that looks like down in 20th. McNaughton has had a shocking start and has made very little progress at all, but at least he is in the race and therefore gets some airtime, unlike race 1. Anyway, Dubois holds on to 2nd then. Bin Suhail is now starting to pull a little bit of a gap, as you can see. Gigalis is 3rd, having failed to get past Dubois in the first couple of corners. Silva gets past Marek Petras for 4th position, so great move by Victor Silva there through Piratella. And it is Justin Ruin in 6th, Stefan Schreider 7th, Kanani 8th, Bernat 9th, and Maggio now 10th. So him and Ellis and Sellers just continue to make positions. They're all past Caroline Harvick now. So we're seeing the bottom end of the top 15 really starting to fall back through the order ever so slightly. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Maggio on the podium by the end of this as Kanani and Schreider start to battle through Variante Alta. Here we go on board with Mike Bell. He fancies a move on Caroline Harvick. Harvick is on the inside. Bell is going to sweep around the outside before they get to the last couple of corners. Ravazza, We're up to 1, 2, and Harvick into the gravel there. And that is going to allow Bobby Vakinov through as well. Second place finisher, of course, in race 1. And Harvick has made a bit of a pig's ear of the last 2 corners there, it must be said. As Maggio gains another place, he's passed Bernat now into the top 9. So Maggio really showing his class in that red Academy car. Oh, and look at this. Getting very hectic now. So there is Maggio having just gotten through. Bernat is now under attack from Jeffrey Ellis behind. And Bernat is trying to counter-attack here. Or is that Ellis trying to attack Maggio? No, that was actually... that was Ellis getting through past Bernat then. And here we go. This looks like... Bradley Sellers getting in the mix here past Bernat round the outside into Tosa. So Bernat really is... struggling to keep up with the top 3 from race 1, or some of the top 4 rather from race 1. But it's still Bin Suhail leading Philo Dubois, our pole sitter, our reverse group pole sitter, by 1.5 seconds. G. Gallus is 3rd. Silva still holds on to 4th from Royan. Kanani 6th. Schreider 7th. Marit Petras 8th. Alessandro Maggio 9th, and now 7/10 behind Petras. So his rise, it just continues and continues as we go to the end of lap 2, and we see a brief yellow as Ellis battles with Petras now, as Maggio's already up to 8th. So really, we just got to watch Maggio in this race, don't we, Menno? Because he's the one making all the moves, corner by corner almost.
Let's go on board with him.
Here he is then. Now he fancies 7th position. That's Stefan Schreider in the teal car ahead of us as we go through Rivazza 2 and onto the main straight. And it's so important to get a run here because it's such a long straight, really. He's probably not going to overtake from this far back, but it certainly gets him to sort of catch up to the back of Schreider and use that momentum to sort of haul him round. As here we go, side by side. That looks like a... what is this battle for 7th position then? That's Schreider trying to get past Kanani and failing. And that is going to allow Maggio. Just almost hits the back of him there on the exit of Tamburello. As we see yellow in the first sector there. And that is going to allow Maggio to be swamped by Jeffrey Ellis, who gets through up the inside of Villeneuve. That was opportunistic by Jeffrey Ellis, and a spin ahead of them. And who was that? Was that Kanani spinning around? It was Kanani. That's terrible. That's the 2nd race in a row for where Usuma Kanani. And here we go, still side by side. And that is Ellis holding off Schreider, I think. And Schreider still trying to get through on the inside as they approach Piratella. Is this going to end in tears? Ellis sweeps around the outside and spinning goes Stefan Schreider into the wall. And that could be heavy damage there. But at least Alessandro Maggio, he'll breathe a sigh of relief because that's another car he doesn't have to deal with now. But... Schreider hit the wall very, very hard there as we see the battle for 14th position here between Conor Dugoid and Brody Lawless, who we're on board with. He nearly loses it completely in that pink car. Now we go up the inside into Variante Alta. He's got the run here. The green car is powerless, and that's Brody Lawless making a superb move there into Variante Alta. And poor Conor Dugoid.
Oh, Conor gets back.
But he has got the slipstream. He's going to be stranded on the outside. There we go. That's brilliant defensive work from Brody Lawless. It's a sweep across, control the line, not give any opportunity for Dugoid to sort of slip past around the outside, as we've seen the likes of Lucas Filing do in the FS2 series. Meanwhile, up front, it is still Suhail leading Philo Dubois by 1.7 seconds now. Gia Gallus 3rd. A big spinner. That's one of the orange cars.
Silva.
And that's a big shame for Victor Silva. Was doing so well in the top 4. That hands 4th place to Justin Ruyan. As Silva gets going down in 12th position. Mark McNaughton has somehow gotten up to 13th in all of this in the similarly liveried orange car. So shout out to McNaughton avoiding all the trouble ahead of Lawless. And Maggio gains another place. Him and Ellis fighting for that 5th position. Ellis has gotten back through again. So good defensive driving from Ellis and that light blue car. So it looks like there was a little dive up the inside into Tosa. Here we go into Piratella then. And this is going to be a late move then. This looks like Mike Bell actually fighting Petras.
Mike Bell passing.
He's able to get through. So brilliant move there by Mike Bell, making the moves where you least expect him to. Piratella is such a tough corner to overtake because you approach it with such high speed. You wouldn't think you'd have to sort of long braking zone that enables you to slip one up the inside. But Mike Bell proving us wrong. As per usual, Maggio still 3/10 behind Ellis in the battle for what is currently 5th position. As off track goes, that must be Kanani trying to recover from his earlier off. And I apologize if I'm not immediately able to identify people. I'm looking at the very tiny screen I'm sharing with you, Menno. But there is the race leader, Bin Suhail, holding off Dubois by 1.7 seconds. Giagalis 1.5 seconds back. Ruyan is just 6/10 down on Giagalis. Ellis is now 9/10 down on Ruyan, and he's got Maggio still all over the back of him in 6th position, 3/10 behind him. Maggio sets the fastest first sector on that lap. Vakinov sets the fastest lap of the race in 8th, though, behind Bradley Sellers. So we've got that top 4 from race 1 just slowly making their way through the orders. We see that looks like Kanani making another blunder, and that's Schreider getting through now after hitting the wall pretty hard earlier.
Philo de Boss is catching the leader.
And look at that train of 4 cars all together. That is Giagalis, Ruyan, Ellis, Maggio, Sellers, and Vakinov all converging on the same piece of track. So things are going to get very, very busy here very rapidly.
Yeah, it's like they are driving in rental cars. Like you know those rental car races where they're all so close. It looks like
racing, we call it in the UK, where they go on a big dirt track and it's survival of the fittest. Here we go, a little move being attempted into Acqua Minerale. I think that was Maggio trying to put pressure on Ellis as we ride on board with 7th place Bradley Sellers, who's got a good view of the action, but he's dropped back a little bit. He's under pressure. Now.
Yeah, but look how easy he is closing up to the group. The whole group is actually rolling over each other, falling over each other.
Well, they're all being held up by Giagalis.
Yeah. And as long as he stays
still
ahead,
setting a personal best. Purple second sector is a little move being attempted by Ruyan on Giagalis, and that's somebody going off into the gravel. That's Ellis almost being nudged off there. Maggio through into 5th. So Ellis, having made that opportunistic move, sort of got forced out there into Rivarza 2, didn't he? So there was really nowhere to go with Ruyan and Giagalis converging, holding him up. And Maggio took advantage, took that 5th position, and now right in the slipstream of Ruyan and Giagalis as those two squabble away. I think Maggio fancies a podium here. And the big question is he going to be able to catch up to Dubois if he can clear them quickly? As we see, here we go, the battle for... this is 6th, 7th, and 8th. Vakinov, Sellers, and Ellis. Oh! And now it looks like Sellers spinning out there. Did he hit the back of Jeffrey Ellis?
Yeah.
Just recovers there. And it's hit by Mike Bell.
Yeah, and that was a shame, but they got away with it.
Bell did well not to just collect into the back of him and end both their races there. So Bell making side-on contact, but he didn't have a lot of warning there, did he? As we see Maggio getting past Ruyan, 4th position. And Ruyan in that pink car. I think now he's going to be at the mercy of Jeffrey Ellis, but Maggio crucially getting through at Piratella and almost losing it for Acqua Minerale. How did they both hold on to that one there? That was insane there. The rears completely losing traction, but regripping mercifully at the right time. And Giagalis breathes a bit of a sigh of relief there, I think, for the time being. But look at this. Bobby Vakinov is just at the back of a huge, huge train now. In front of him is Ellis, Ruyan, Maggio, and then Giagalis.
Yeah, it's an amazing group, but still in the lead.
And Vakinov still with the fastest lap of the race as Maggio through at Rivarza 2 there, I think, past Giagalis. And look at them still going side by side now. Ellis fancies a run at Ruyan as they go through the start-finish straight.
And there comes... George.
This is Giagalis getting the slipstream then on Maggio, so Maggio will have to fend. Oh! A little bit of contact there, the front wing still intact on Giagalis as he tries to go around the outside. Maggio runs about a room in Ellis into the side of Giagalis, I think.
I think it was...
That was Ruyan, sorry.
I think it was Vakinov, the green car, but I'm not sure. Could be Ruyan.
It's all so mixed up, really, but Ruyan has been able to get back ahead of both of them because of that contact. So a little bit of a delay there, and that's allowed Maggio to really make a breakthrough in this group, hasn't he? Now 5.4 seconds gap to Philo Dubois. We're on lap 7 of 13. Still just under 5 laps left to catch the cars in front. Dubois has closed a little bit on Bin Suhail, and the gap is now 1.2 seconds. But Maggio, the danger man, looking to put in another magic show here at Imola and steal a win.
he checked out, so that's important. So I think he will now be gone from this group.
Yeah,
And
so
that's
Ellis will
very
be ruining his bad luck there. He was ahead of Maggio earlier on, but this has been such a fantastic duel to observe, hasn't it, Menno? Just watching them all jostle for position and try not to run into each other at close quarters as Ellis once again on the back of Ruin and squirreling at the back there through Variante Alta.
Yeah, and sometimes you see Justin getting it wrong, and when he gets it wrong, like again, then he's really out of shape.
There's the opportunity. Ellis up the inside. Is Roy going to squeeze him as they go onto the back straight? And of course, Ellis knows he can get the slipstream here. Oh, and Vakanov taking advantage. No room there. Surely Bobby. Up the inside he goes. What a beautiful move there by Bobby Vakanov. And they part like the Red Sea in front of him. But Vakanov is not out of the woods yet. Side by side go Ellis and Royan into Tamburello. Who's going to get through? Ellis is going to try around the outside. And he just has enough space to complete the move there. And that's Royan shuffled out down to 7th position.
Yeah, but he's still in it.
That's true. Is he going to dive on up the inside into Villeneuve as we see a yellow flag?
Yellow.
I'm not sure who that is for.
I think it's the bar.
Oh, Dubois down to 3rd then, 1.6 seconds behind. In fact, Giagallis is through as well. Still holding off Bobby Vakanov somehow this phase. So a great performance from Giagallis, but Dubois, a crucial mistake, puts him down to 9th then as through goes Mike Bell. Now that puts Maggio into 2nd. So the only thing separating him from victory is Josef Bin Suhail and a fastest first sector of the race for Maggio, 33.3. That's over 4 attempts faster than Suhail in the first sector.
Yeah, but Yusuf is experienced. So I think Yusuf knows what to extract, when to extract it. So
another purple sector then, nearly a whole second faster, 8 tenths faster than Maggio. Maggio is pushing like a man possessed right now. He wants to make it 2 from 2. He'll be the first to do it this year if he can pull it off. Because the Academy, it's pretty high standard. It on tracks like Turkey and Valencia, it is very hard to get up the order, and it's the same at Imola as well if you start down in 15th. But Maggio has already done an incredible job in this race, and I don't think he'll be satisfied. That 5-second gap, he'll be looking to close that up, as that's the battle for 11th position. McNaughton fancies a run at Petras and slides the rear out of that orange car.
Oh, but he's got a better exit. No, he runs into the grass.
Yeah, and Lawless is only about 1.2 behind then, and looking to take advantage. Here we go. This is Vakanov on Giagallis, round the outside into Tamburello, and Vakanov is through onto the podium then. So another podium could go the way of Bobby Vakanov. So Giagallis, who put in a brave defense, but it had to break sooner or later. There's no stopping Bobby, is there?
No, it's not stopping Bobby here, and he's got experience from I believe it was FS2 and FS1, so yeah, he knows the track and all the curbs.
Yeah, a lot of these guys were taking part in FS2 last week, weren't they, in that those dramatic 2 races there. Of course, I think the distance in the FS2, obviously the more powerful cars as well, but also the distance in those races was slightly longer as well. So it's interesting, people using FS2 as practice for Academy or vice versa sometimes at some of these tracks.
Yeah. Of course,
anyway.
You cannot freely use it, because if you have a primary contract in one of the series, you cannot race in Academy. So essentially all the drivers in here are searching for FS2 seats if they want. But yeah, that's how the system works.
Indeed, but it's always the best ones that end up in the bigger championships, and the Academy is where they earn their spurs, to use a cowboy parlance in the Old West. But Maggio's got the gap down. He's taken a second out of Bin Suhail's lead. It's only 4 seconds now. 1:42.5 last time round for Alessandro Maggio. Bin Suhail in the lead. 1:43.9, sorry. He sets a 1:43.4. And Maggio this time around sets a 1:42.4, a whole second faster, and a purple final sector of the race. Maggio continues to fly the gap. 3 seconds now with just 3 laps to go.
I don't think it's enough for Alessandro. Because
he's going to catch right at the end. So as long as Bin Suhail doesn't make a mistake, but he's under so much pressure from Maggio, isn't he?
Yeah, but catching is.
And Ellis is right behind Giagallis now as well in the battle for 4th. I think Jeffrey Ellis will be coming through sooner or later, with Bradley Sellers close in tow behind as Philo Dubois is overtaken by, I think, Silva. As look at that, Ellis going wide as he can, trying to get as much speed as he can into Tosa, but Gigalis is proving a tough nut to crack, isn't he? Look at the gap ahead of him, 1.7. Vakanov is starting to check out ahead. But here comes Ellis. Will he make a move up the inside into Puritella? No, he has to back out there. There wasn't really the room, and Gigalis saw it coming from a mile off.
Oh, yeah. The thing is with Yusuf and Alessandro, I think, catching is one thing, passing is another thing.
Yeah, that is the term, and that is the old saying, isn't it? And here we go up the inside into Variant Alter. Jeffrey Ellis fancies a run, and can Gigalis do anything? Oh, he's on the outside. He tapped him at the rear, and he almost spins Jeffrey Ellis around. He slows down, I think, to let Ellis get away with that one. That's going to back them both into Mike Bell, who's somehow gotten ahead of Bradley Sellers in all of that. So another great move by Mike Bell, missed on stream, unfortunately.
Great lap from Maggio, by the way.
Oh! That was a lovely moment there from Mike Bell, just turning a little bit too early and having to collect himself. 1 second now, the gap between Maggio and Sahel in the battle for victory, with 2 laps to go then. 142.2, 144.2, so Bin Sahel is struggling out there.
There is Sellers on Bell.
Here we go, Sellers is looking to take revenge then. Tired of being overtaken in this race, wants to make a move for a change. Up the inside into Tamburello, and Mike Bell can't really dive up the inside because there's nowhere to go. There's a red car in the way. And Maggio continues to pressurize Bin Sahel up front. Here they are. Into Tosa they go. And out of the hairpin, I think Bin Sahel is going to be really driving on his wing mirrors on this final lap. I think Maggio is going to get through here. I just don't see how Bin Sahel can hold him at bay. He's a force of nature. As we see Asuma Kanani retiring from the race.
Oh, no. That's a big shame. Yeah, but I think he was back since quite a while, and it's good to see him back.
Mistake there from Bin Sahel, and this could be the move for Alessandro Maggio. He's going to be on the outside at Variante Alta, though. So he's going to be in an unideal line. He has to dive back up behind the dark blue car of Bin Sahel. And Yusuf Bin Sahel has a horrible moment there on the exit of Akramina Brali. I wonder if he's exhausted his tyres now at this phase of the race. And here we go to the outside. Maggio is going to do the Lucas Filing move. Is he? They go side by side and almost in the gravel for Maggio. He just collects himself. Vakanov, by the way, sets purple first sector and is closing a little bit on the both of them.
I think that was fair. I mean, they both went from the same part, and it was a bit of a slide, but he's not out of it and actually got a decent slipstream. But I think that was fair. That was a hit, but not, I think, intentional, and they got away with it.
But Bin Sahel hanging on to the lead of this race by the skin of his teeth. Here's Vakanov, so near, yet so far to another race 2 victory. I think he might end up having to sell the third, but a 1:42.138, fastest lap of the race for Vakanov. So he's certainly not leaving anything on the table at this phase, but the lead still raging on. 3 tenths between the two as we see Royan losing out to Gigalis. And Mike Bell getting through up to 5th as well. Here they go side by side. And there's Royan, who just has to back out there as he tries to make a move on Gigalis. Maggio continuing to hassle the back of Bin Sahel, to harry, to push for all he's worth. But this is the final lap. So he will not have too many opportunities.
If Yusuf manages to stay ahead after turn 1, I give him a decent shot to win it. Is
there another lap to go? This isn't the final lap then. It's 12 or 13, it's saying.
I believe there is another lap after this.
Oh, here we go. Well, Bin Sahel will certainly be hoping there isn't one, because Maggio...
Look who joins the chat. If this goes wrong with numbers 1 and numbers 2, we've got Bobby saying, hey, I am there. And 2 weeks ago, didn't Bobby win race 2?
He did at Valencia, but he did start on reverse group pole, which he didn't this time. He had to fight his way through the field. But look at how close they're getting. Maggio wants the run as they go onto the start-finish line. For what will be the penultimate time, he tries to duck out to not give the slipstream to Maggio behind. But Maggio tucks in nonetheless. There's no escape here. Bin Sahel is about to see Maggio attack him. Round the outside he goes. He forces him the long way around. Into Tamburello they go. And Vakanov has got a grandstand seat. Will Maggio sweep around the outside? No! Bin Sahel keeps him at bay.
He's still ahead, and that's what I said. Now it will be difficult for Maggio. He can still pass, but it will just be a lot more difficult.
This could come down to who has got their tyres in best nick, and I think Bin Sahel may have been saving them for this moment, but they don't look in the best condition as Vakinov going full risk over the curb there. Puts a wheel on the gravel, but Maggio tries to go around the outside and Tosa. Bin Sahel is squirreling, and here comes Vakinov. He takes advantage of Maggio being delayed by Bin Sahel to close right on the back of him. So Maggio, does he defend? Does he attack? He's Malcolm in the middle here. He's got nowhere to go.
It can be one of those three still. It can still be Bobby. I do believe that.
And Bin Sahel has got to not make a mistake for Minerale. They go such a challenge.
There he goes.
And he gets offline. And now Maggio will dive to the outside and hit the side of him. They crash. And Bobby Vakinov takes the lead on the final lap of the race. I can't believe it, Menno.
Oh, we were on board. Yeah, this is what happened. They can all win or lose it. Oh, what a shame. But this is also racing. And they went for it.
Bin Sahel did get going again in second position. Maggio down to fifth behind Ellis and Mike Bell. Maggio will be furious with that. Bin Sahel dipped a wheel on the gravel, lost control. And Maggio, you got to say, was the innocent victim in a way.
Sometimes you need to be lucky. Sometimes you need to be lucky, and he is lucky. The winner for race 2 is Bobby Vakinov. After...
What a consummate drive. He had to be there at the end to take advantage, didn't he? So that fastest lap came exactly when he needed it to. Bin Sahel led so much of this race, but will have to be content with second position after that late mistake at the death. Jeffrey Ellis somehow gets up to third ahead of Mike Bell, who takes another strong result. Maggio will be ruining that fifth position after such a brilliant performance in most of this race and race 1 as well, which he won. Victor Silva takes 6th from Royan. Sellers ends up down in 8th, so something happened to Sellers near the end there. Giagallis 9th after a great defensive drive. Philo Dubois, after starting a pole, able to just hold on to 10th from Mark McNaughton, who started at the very back of the field. So shout out to McNaughton to finish 11th from Petras, Lawless, Schreider, De Goid, Bernat, Harvig, and Smith gets a rare finish to his name, I think.
From what I saw in the move, like it's Yusuf was always going to be the slower driver, so he drove very smart, like parking a little bit on the apex of corners, but then he lost it. But I think the way he fought for it, I think you can understand. They went for it. They both went for it. Maggio wanted,
and you knew that was the weak corner as well. I think Maggio knew it was the weak corner because he ducked to the inside immediately, didn't he? And the problem was, Bin Sahel went too wide on the outside, dipped a wheel on the grass, spun right into Alessandro Maggio. Bobby Vakinov was just watching it. All they had to do was let a little bit off the throttle, wait for that gap to emerge, and they parted, as I said earlier, like the Red Sea in front of him. And so Vakinov, after a brilliant result, and so Vakinov, there we go, confirmation then. Victory is his in the second race 2 in a row, as we saw at Valencia as well. Yusuf Bin Sahel takes second, but there was a win-loss there after a late mistake on the very final lap under huge pressure. So I think Bin Sahel, as you say, very, very experienced. He will put that one in the catalogue and move on. But still, a podium, I think he won't be too distraught. But that's a very controversial way to end the race. Certainly, Jeffrey Ellis, he had a battling drive today. He takes third ahead of Mike Bell, who made some good moves of his own on the likes of Bradley Sellers. Alessandro Maggio, fifth, not the result that drive really necessarily you would have expected, given that he seemed to be on a rocket ship run to the lead, and that late crash just spun him around. He'll be furious with Bin Sahel, I imagine. Victor Silva takes 6th from Justin Royan. Bradley Sellers 8th from George Giagallis. Philo Dubois, pole sitter for a reverse grip pole sitter, rounds out the top 10. Then in 11th, it's Mark McNaughton from the very back of the grid to 11th. So a big shout out to him, beating Marek Petras. Brody Lawless finishes unlucky 13th, I guess. So I guess it really was a bit lawless out there. But he did beat Stefan Schreider, Connor de Goid, Caroline Harvig, and Louis Smith, our final finisher, with Victor Bernat, Osama Kanani, who really had a bit of unlucky race too. They're getting into incidents that took him out, and then Archie Moat retiring very early on indeed. So that is your final order then. So let's have a look. Is there anybody who wants to interview? Well, I see Maggio is waiting, as is Kanani. So I have 2 angry people in the chat who want to talk to us, man. Shall we drag him in? I don't think I can, but I'll try.
No, we will drag them in. I think, we've already got Alessandro in there. So yeah, you can actually do
So
the.
we are now joined then by winner of race 1 and 5th place finisher in race 2, Alessandro Maggio. So Alessandro, some brilliant racing out there. I know, having just had that happen to you in race 2, there'll be a lot of adrenaline and a lot of disappointment with the way race 2 ended, but your drive throughout in both races was absolutely excellent, and race 1 looked like a dream out there, and race 2 was looking so good right up until the very, very end with Yusuf bin Sahel making contact with you. So tell us about your races then, Alessandro.
Well, first of all, thank you. This was my debut event in RF2 after basically spending my last 4 years on RF1, and moving into a different platform is not that easy, especially considering how integrated RF1 has become to me. But I've seen where my pace was from the very beginning, since you know I've practiced not so much, but I've done some laps in the practice server, and I saw it from the beginning I was really fast. So I was really high up my expectations for the race, and that showed in qualifying and race 1. But qualifying is what surprised me the most. 1 second, I wouldn't have bet cent that I would have been on pole by a second. But anyways, that's the least. Race 1, yeah, it went well. I had no trouble in keeping my lead. Bobby was, making me sweat all the first laps, but I managed it at the end. And race 2 was going to be a dream because I was coming from P15 and I was, cutting through the field and basically catching up to P1 by the end of, the race. But, that happened, and, it's racing, happens sometimes. So I'm happy overall with the result, but I wanted more.
Yeah, and of course there was a great battle. There was at one point Jig Alice was holding everyone up in third, and there was third through to I think 7th. There was just a huge train of you, Jeffrey Ellis, Bradley Sellers, Bobby Vakanov, and Mike Bell, all those drivers, all just sort of fighting through these guys. And there was also there was one point where I think Jeffrey Ellis was able to get ahead of you, and then he went wide and you were back through. And then, as you say, there was that incident at the end where Bin Sahel, he was always a bit weak through Acre Minerale, losing the rear end a little bit. And you saw the opportunity, you went to the inside. And I think it was just one of those really, really bad, like you said, it was turning into a dream. And then suddenly it turned into a nightmare on you, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, happens. I'm okay with how the race ended, P15 to P5. Could have been
Yeah.
P2, but it's fine.
One question, Alessandro.
Sure.
You said this was your debut race. Are you planning to do more in Air Factor 2? Because this was the start, or do you've got ambitions to grow in GPVWC, or what is the aim for you, actually?
Well, for now, I want to, get familiar with the ambient because, I'm pretty new to this, and, I want to get to grips. But once, I get my feet on the ground, I want to, start climbing up the ladders, such as, FS2, maybe FS1, and one day maybe Super League. But, that's far-fetched for now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming to talk to us, Alessandro. And I think you've impressed a lot of people today. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of you in the future in GPVWC races to come. But congrats on winning race 1.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening.
All right, let's see if we can get Yusuf in now.
Yeah, of course we can.
There we go. I dragged him in.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are now joined by Yusuf. And Yusuf, are you there?
Yeah. Hello. How are you guys doing?
Yes. So it's an interesting pair of races for you. Obviously, race 1 was a little bit difficult. Qualified really well, and then it all sort of became a bit of a tricky race, and you were able to just about get back into the top 15, 14, and then get into second for reverse grid. You made a brilliant start in race 2, and were leading so much of it until the very end of the final lap there. So talk us through your races if you can.
So yeah, it was a really fun day overall. I only got back on R Factor 2 today after about 6 months, so I thought, right, I do actually need to practice for this race. So I jumped on and put in some laps and was slowly getting up to pace. So I was really, really happy with my qualifying because it was about a second quicker than what I was expecting. Race
funny,
out-
that's just what Alessandro was telling us. when he was on
right. So the first race was interesting. There was, I think, maybe just because first race things, but there was a lot of dive bombs and sends, and yeah, when you get hit from behind, there's not much you can do. But I just try to have fun. Like even with a bit of damage, you still have really fun battles. So did that, and then I saw that I was starting second for the second race. So and I just had to try to get a good getaway and hope that Maggio and all of the others just got involved in whatever carnage would happen in Academy midfield. But they, I guess sadly for me, they didn't. So I was just trying to get my head down, put in some good laps without destroying my tires. And then whoever was in second ended up binning it through the second chicane. And I just
It was
thought,
Philo
oh
Dubois.
no. Yeah, I was just thinking, oh no, he was like my buffer. I needed him there to like, oh, Maggio behind. So I just started getting my head down, trying to push. But Maggio's just, credit to him, he's ridiculously fast. And on to the last lap, or onto the final few laps, he was just right behind me. So I was just defending for all my might's worth. And then onto the last lap, we go into the hairpin, and I just hold it nice and slow so that he can't get the switch back. And I thought, okay, it's done. I just need to get Aqua Minerale right. And then I lose the back end on entry. So I think, okay, I need to bring the car all the way over to the right. And I think as I go to the right, Maggio saw it coming, so he went to the left. And I think he just tapped my rear end, which sent me into a half spin. And then as I try to catch the car, I just caught Maggio coming around, and then the seas kind of parted for Bobby, I think, to take the win.
Yes, it was a very, very dramatic moment, and I was screaming a lot. I think I mistakenly called it that you put a wheel on the grass, but which wasn't actually what happened, as you say there. So thanks for correcting the record on that one. But thanks for coming to talk to us, Yusuf, and congrats on the second place. I know it wasn't quite the win that you wanted, but still, you put in a lot of moves out there. You held the lead for a long time, so credit to you. You really took advantage of that position you got in the reverse grid and put on a great show for us. So thanks for coming to talk to us, Yusuf.
Cheers.
Right, so I think we can very briefly fit in Asuma Kanani, who's been waiting to talk.
And we've got Mike Bell as well.
Shall we drag Mike in, and Mike and Asuma at the same time? I think that would probably make the most sense.
Okay, well, I think that's the last two we've got for the interview.
Yes.
So let's see.
So
if
we have
they
to
are
go very, very soon, but we are joined now by Mike Bell, who finished 4th in race 2 and 5th in race 1. And Asuma Kanani, who unfortunately didn't have as good luck as Mike Bell and had a pair of slightly more challenging races, but certainly was challenging Mike Bell actually in the first race as well. So shall we talk to Mike first? Mike, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, no, it was
So-
good fun in race 1, actually. I hadn't had the pleasure of battling with Osama before, and he followed me through the early chaos. I was looking forward to having a bit of a fight, and I think he went off or something afterwards. But yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, that's how I remember it too. I think, but Osama was able to get back up from 7th into 6th in race 1, and then in race 2, unfortunately, Osama hit trouble and had to retire, which was a bit of a shame. Osama, do you know what happened in race 2? Well, you were there. So.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, race 2, my setup was reset, so I had no speed on the straight, and the car was really weird in the corners. Yeah.
R-Factor 2 doing R-Factor 2 things, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I mean, I forgot to assign my setup, so that's on me, honestly. Yeah.
Well, let's not criticize the games. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Studio 397. Anyway, but that's a bit about it. But certainly, race 1 was a pretty strong showing for you. So I'm sure we're going to see more of you in the future.
Well, I mean, race 1 was really good, honestly. The start was amazing. I had a really good start. Was lucky no one was, there's no contact in front, and Mike was doing really a good job to stay ahead. I was waiting for a mistake. I couldn't get close, especially in the last corner, to get a good run in the straight. But there seems like the cars really gets unsettled behind really close. I don't know why, if that's me or... Yeah, that's how it is. But yeah, it was a really good race 1. The mistake in the bus stop was unfortunate. I was really not comfortable with the curbs. But yeah, it was just a matter of time before I had to make a mistake like that. But overall, after being a while away from racing in general. This is really a good race, and yeah, I'm happy with the consistency of race 1.
That's great to hear. And Mike, just a short word on race 2, because you sort of caught up to the back of that huge train fighting for third, and you got well and truly stuck in. You made a great move on Bradley Sullers, I think, at one point.
Yeah, no, I was like, speaking of the race 2, I don't think anyone had a straightforward race. I saw Bobby, who ended up winning the race. He passed me for like P14 or something, and as we were both coming back from lap 1, like I got spun on the way out of turn 3, and he was off in turn 5, so it's like we both were coming up through. But yeah, no, caught the back of that group for P3. It was just classic reverse grid. Someone who got reversed further up, maybe didn't have the speed, but was just battling like hell for the position, and credit to them. And they kept everyone sort of boxed in together. But when that happens, you got so many people almost tripping over each other to try and line a move up. Like, some things happen and gaps open up, and yeah, no, me and Brad had a good little duke it out. We're endurance teammates, so it's never going to be quite as knife at the throat as it would be for some other people. But yeah, no, it's good fun, and managed to follow Jeff home, and yeah, not too bad. Another good academy showing, despite not really having much pace. So yeah, happy with
Who
that.
needs pace in academy? Come on, man.
Exactly.
You just make a few good overtakes, get on stream a few times. That's
Well,
enough.
you just, you see a 2 wide in front, go straight down the middle, boom, 2 places gained, and it's
I've got a question for you both. We've got a few more academy rounds. Will we see you both competing in those rounds we currently have, or is that still unsure? Because I believe we've got an Australian Academy Grand Prix in 2 weeks, and in 4 weeks we are in Sepang, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur.
well, unless a career ladder team wants to pick me up, I'm intending on doing the academy series stuff. I mean, haven't had the best of showings in the career ladder the last few years, but I'm really finding some enjoyment in doing the academy series. But
Okay.
yeah, who knows? It'll be what it'll be. I've already got one person saying, "Oh, if I need a driver in FS1, are you up for it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's go for it. What could go wrong? Turn up with no pace, secure some results, get some
Yeah.
points. Happy
And,
day."
and what about you, Osama?
Well,
Is you back?
yeah, I mean, if the time allows it, yeah, why not? Right now, I'm into GT racing, but yeah, I mean, luckily for me, GPVWC and GT Masters are not in the same time, so yeah, maybe we will see more academy racing. And generally, like, the boys really were doing like a really good job, so yeah, it was fun. So yeah, but definitely we're gonna be coming back.
Okay. Well, guys, I wanted to thank you both for being here, and let's move on to one final guy in the broadcast, and that's our race 2 winner. So, yeah, let's do one more interview. Up to you.
Sure thing. So now joining us is second in race 1 and unexpected winner in the race of his life in race 2, Bobby Vakinov. Bobby, congratulations.
Yeah, it was so unexpected for me too. Like, I was making progress like very slow in race 2.
Well, that's not what we saw. We saw you cutting up the inside of people, Bobby.
Yeah, I was trying my best. I was trying to be very aggressive. I was hoping I can get to maybe P2 or something. And like when I made it to P3, like after all these dive bombs I did, like I saw that P1 was like 7 seconds ahead, and with like less than half the race to go, and I was thinking like, no chance. There's no chance I'm gonna be P3. And then as the race went on, and the two of them started fighting, and I started to get close, and man, that was a proper dogfight between those two. They were going very hard. And then I saw my chance. Then I saw my chance. I saw maybe I can get advantage of that fight. And even at the last lap, just before Aqua Minerale, I had a run on Maggio. But I decided not to go for it. Like, I could go around the outside, but there was no point in that. I'd rather just let them fight. And it worked out.
Fight they did. It became physical. When you saw them, where the contact was clearly going to happen in front of you, and you've got very limited time to react because you've been setting fastest laps up to that point. You were right behind them. Is there a sort of sense of, I'm going to lift off the front, let these two sort themselves out, and then just slot into the gap? Or is it, right, full speed ahead, I need to clear this incident as it's happening?
I just wanted to make sure I was close. Like, I was pushing hard just to be close enough just to take advantage of any mistake. But yeah, as soon as I saw how hard Yusuf was defending, I was thinking, like, probably something's gonna happen here. So I need to be close to take advantage of it.
So, Bobby, that's another race 2 win in the bank after Valencia. And this time you had to fight, I think it's fair to say, a lot harder for it because you started a lot further back.
Yeah.
And it's another podium as well. So I think you finished on the podium, and I think all but one race of all the Academy races we've done this season so far. Well, apart from one or two, I think. But it's a pretty great record. If there was a championship, you'd be leading it. Unfortunately, it's just a series of races. But but I think you've definitely put yourself in the shop window in these opening couple of rounds and shown what you can do to the world. We've all been very impressed.
Yeah, and it's been very fun also. Especially this last race, I enjoyed it very much. Yeah, if there's more,
we enjoyed it too. We were screaming as the Red Sea sort of parted in front of you, basically.
Yeah, just saw on stream that you were on my onboard as the incident was happening, and you just caught me going like 1 centimeter around the one car and then 1 centimeter around the other car.
It was well judged. You didn't have a lot of time to make that decision.
One question, Bobby. If you look at, we're still on air, by the way. It sounds like a cool chat, and it is. Looking at this win and the win 2 weeks ago, is this one for the feelings much better than the one from 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it feels much more rewarding. Like in the other race, like I feel I just got lucky with the start position. But here, like I didn't even have a good start. Like I dropped 1 or 2 positions. And then I really had to make it back up, just like a proper Academy win should be.
Yeah,
indeed. I think I'll agree with you that, Bobby. But anyway, thank you very much for talking to us. And Menno, when is the next race? So I can wish Bobby good luck for that one.
I think in 2 weeks in Australia, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh. Well, we'll see you at Albert Park then, Bobby, where you'll no doubt be on the podium once more if the way things are going. But anyway, thank you very much for talking to us, and best of luck.
Yeah, and with this, round 3 is done and dusted, but we're not done for Imola. We're staying at Imola, so I can stay another few nights at my hotel here. So
you're very popular, Menno. Here at this hotel.
Yeah,
the Italians, they can't get rid of you. You're like the cat that lives at the circuit.
Yeah. So so tomorrow we will have the Super Lights race. So actually, I'm looking forward to see that as not doing a camera as a commentary, but just seeing that and see how those drivers are doing in the new teams in the new series. And then the flagship series will be there in Thursday. It's the Super League. So I'm looking very forward to it. And in 2 weeks we will be back. I am not sure if I will be on the commentary or camera work then, but
hopefully we can get Josh in to help. For Academy.
But I think there is always a chance that it will be covered either with me and you or another group of people. But for today, it was you and me. So I want to thank everyone, and I think we're going to go off stream. The final word is for you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Menno. Thanks for doing the broadcast as well, so well. And thank you to the audience watching, of course, if you still are indeed. And our winners, let's congratulate once again our winners, Alessandro Maggio and Bobby Vakinov here in Imola. We'll be back at Albert Park in 2 weeks' time for round 4 of the Academy series. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.